So we cannot have an assumption that Smith family name exists more than 700 years old. For example, if we assume that Smith's family name exists about 800 years old, so that's a wrong assumption, according to answer A. Meanwhile, in the text, it is clearly stated the word at least here. So minimum 700 years old. So we can have an assumption that probably Smith family name do exist about 800, 900, even 1000 years old. Alright, that's clear I think. Now we move to the next option, B. Well, before that I should decide that answer A here is not appropriate or incorrect. So let's move to option B here. It existed 600 years old. Alright, let's see the keyword in the reading. Here, at least 700 years old. Yeah. So the Smith family name exists at least 700 years old. And then we match with the option B here. It exists 600 years ago. So, if it is at least or minimum 700 years old, does it exist about 600 years ago? Does it exist about 500 years ago? That is the answer or the option C. Yeah, we discuss it together because it's just almost the same. Yeah, about the existence of Smith family name. Yeah, whether 600 years ago it is exist, 500 years ago it is exist or not. Yeah, I guess the answer B is right. Yeah, or the option B here is right because if it is minimum 700 years old, so probably 600 years ago or 600 years old, it does exist. Yeah, in 500 years ago, it also exists. Yeah, why? Because at least, yeah, minimum 700 years old. Yeah, it means it can be 800, 900 or more. And also it means that 100 years ago it exists, 200 years ago it exists, 300 years ago it exists, 400 years ago it exists, 500 years ago it exists. 600 years ago it exists. Yeah, 700 years ago it exists also. Why? Here the writer put the number 700 years. That is because she or he is for sure talk that this probably 700 years. Probably the evidence or the proof or maybe the information, yeah, at least, yeah, the information shows that at least 700 years ago there is a name, a family name that is Smith. Yeah, so if something minimum, for example, I have a minimum 20x, yeah, for example, you know x, yeah. If I have not x, maybe cars, for example, yeah. I have 20 cars. I have at least 20 cars. It means that Do I have 15 cars? Yes, of course. If I need 15 cars and I want to borrow you 15 cars, do you have it? Yes, of course I have, because at least at my home I have 20 cars. If you just want to borrow 15 cars, yes, I have. Yeah. So at least 700 years old. Does it exist in 600 years old? Yes, it exists, the answer. So B is probably the correct answer. Before we decide, we should check the option D. It definitely was not in use 1000 years ago. Yeah. So was not in use, it means that it does not exist, or it didn't exist in 1000 years ago. Yeah, of course, this is not appropriate as what we have discussed before, that at least 700 years ago or 700 years old, it means that it can be 800, it can be 900, 1000 and more. So it is probably still in use about 1000 years ago. According to the keyword in the reading, that is the keyword is at least. At least, and the number is 700 years old. So everybody, a bit complicated if you have no sense of counting. Yeah, so your mathematical knowledge here is really important. Your sense of counting, yeah, counting something, or your sense of a vocabulary, yeah, understanding of vocabulary, to differentiate the word at least, the word not more than, the word exists, didn't exist, was not used. Yeah, this is really important for you to understand the meaning of each word.